courage to doing that. Thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing us.
Okay, our next witness is David Valentino, owner of Brigette Lounge in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Mr. Valentino, have a seat.
Oh, this is my wife, Karen.
Wonderful. Thank you both for coming here. I'm sorry you had to wait. I apologize to all the witnesses for our delay, and we're going to try to catch up and pick up our time. So I appreciate your patience, and we'd like to hear from you.
Yes, well, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you. I first contacted your office here in Harrisburg 1 year ago that we made the decision voluntarily to go smoke-free. We own a tavern. It's been in our family since 1962. It's 5,000 square feet. And on a little lighter note, a lot of my regular patrons are smokers, and most of them supported us with this and stayed loyal customers. They all warned me I should wear a bulletproof vest when I came up here today, that I would be a minority. But and one of my barmaids, Anna Welsh, she stressed a story that I had told to some people 20 years ago, when, of course, we were still smoking establishment. I applied for some health insurance, and a man came to my home. I filled out a questionnaire. He had a nurse with him. She drew blood, and they took a urine specimen, and a week later I got a phone call from my insurance agent, who was a good friend of ours as Art Miller Insurance Agency, Erie Group. He called me laughing. He said, "You're going to love this." And I said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, the insurance guy accused you of falsifying the questionnaire because I am a non-smoker." And he said that your applicant falsified his questionnaire. He had the equivalent of a half a pack a day in his blood, sample, urine sample, whichever it was. And he assured the man that I was a non-smoker. So when people argue the point, my father, who originally had the place, he smoked from the time 1941. He was 16 years old. He quit smoking in 1973. And he continued to work in our place under the smoke conditions, and my father was diagnosed 20 years later in 1993 with lung cancer. So people ask me, is it an issue, is it or not? Well, I have two issues of fact that state that yes, it is, and in support, first of all, I appreciate my customers that have stayed loyal to us, by these are the smokers that still remain our customers, and I take a lot of kidding, and I take a lot of heat. But the bottom line is, one customer of ours, his name is Buck. He goes to a bar up the street, and he'll come down on Friday nights because we have bands on Friday and Saturday. And he's a smoker, and he'll say, "Oh, I had to get out of that other place. It's just too smoky." And he's a smoker. So I mean, some of these facts are what they are. And there's not a weekend that goes by now. And I must say that our weekends now are tremendous. I mean, we have Anna Williams, our barmaid. She spoke of the fact that our food sales are dramatically up. And one guy, Jeff Bond, who's a regular customer, he said, "Well, you're not going to tell the truth." And I will say something on his behalf. I have lost some customers. Some of my afternoon guys have disappeared because they can go down the street and go to another bar and smoke, And he said, "Well, you won't say that." And I said, "Well, yes, I will. I mean, I will say that I have lost a little business, but on the whole, it's a positive thing. The people that come in, the new customers, there's not a weekend that goes by that people don't say to my wife, 'Thank you for going non-smoking.'" And there is a market for non-smoking. And we've been supporting you, and I appreciate you doing what you are doing. And I supported you by saying, "Well, we'll go smoke free. We'll just bite the bullet and do it." And people say thank you, for going smoke free. And I don't know any other way to support this important idea is to do that. And so we appreciate being able to come up here and say that.
It certainly takes a lot of courage. It's easy for me to say go smoke free, but when your business is online, it's a lot harder to do that. It takes a lot of courage too to do that, and I congratulate you for it. But I'm pleased to hear that you haven't taken a hit, that your revenues, I assume, have increased, at least certainly haven't gone down.
No, I would say at this point, because of what we've gained on the weekends, being, smoke-free, I mean, we've attracted a lot of new customers. When we decided to do it, there were several other places close by to me that went smoke-free voluntarily, and several more have gone since. I keep track of this. It's kind of my passion now. And if I had a slogan to say coming up here, I say to the Tavern Association and to all the others that are worried about it, there is life after a smoke-free Pennsylvania
There you go.
in the bar. I mean, I've heard a lot of, I've confirmed this with a maitre d' at the Italian restaurant at the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City. And I spoke to several of your aides about this. As I understand it, within a month or two, the complete casino floors in all the Atlantic City casinos are going to be smoke-free. They're supposed to build these smoking parlors for people to go in and smoke, and their way of complying with the new city law, as I understood it, and this is all supposed to take effect within the next month or two, the entire casino floors would be smoke-free, and they could smoke in these rooms, designated smoking rooms. And I think that's a fair compromise, and
Are you a member of the Taverns Association? Or were you?
We were.
Okay.
We've always been a member of the Restaurant Association.
Okay.
But when we decided to go smoke-free and they were up in arms against that, I have not paid my dues since.
Okay.
But the Restaurant Association, yes.
And would you consider yourself a small tavern,
Oh.
a mom and pop?
Yes.
We're a mom and
Or
pop
husband and
bar.
wife operation?
We
yes.
are.
Yeah, one other thing, my father and mother are both deceased now, but my father never believed in the smoke eaters, as you would call them. He always believed that the only way to get rid of the smoke was to physically change the air. And we would always run these tremendous exhaust fans on both sides of the bar area. And since we went smoke-free and we stopped running those exhaust fans, my heat bills have cut in half. So smoke-free Pennsylvania is very energy efficient, because I'm honestly here to tell you that I burn half the fuel oil that I used to, because I was exhausting heat and, smoke, trying to deal with and for 30 years, I came to work with my father in 1974, and I never smoked a cigarette in my life. But of course, it was just the way it was. And honestly, 5 years ago, this would have been suicide. It would have been a terrible thing. But attitudes have changed, and I can see it in our new customers, and even our smokers who come in and still are loyal to us, and we certainly appreciate it. They go outside. We have a little porch that we built, to smoke. And I kid them. I said, I'm just the training grounds for what is yet to come.
That's
So-
interesting you say that, because the article I mentioned earlier, it seems like for a long time ago when we started this hearing, that in Ireland, that's exactly what happened. They opened up and the smokers would go out on the front, and then they would have conversations with people. And it really opened up the whole process. And I'm glad to see that you went green too then. You're a green facility as well then.
Well, it's funny that a little correlation. I play keyboard in an Irish band with a man, Vince Gallagher. He's a landscaper, has a little Irish band on the side. And he also is involved with the Commodore Barry Club in Philadelphia near Chestnut Hill. And of course, they're smoke-free within the city limits. And we play occasionally at Emmett's Place in Northeast Philly on Levick Street. And I've come to know Emmett, the owner. He's been there since 1972. And he was very bitter when the Philadelphia law first took effect, because we would play there occasionally. And he knew I owned the tavern, the Brickhat Lounge. He was very bitter. And he said, as usual, the non-smokers, have to have it their own way. But then 2 months later, after he had been smoke-free, and he himself is a non-smoker, his whole attitude had changed. And not just to take my testimony, but just to quote him, he said, it's not so bad now. He said, I don't really have a problem with being smoke-free and the city going smoke-free. He said, but let's make it fair. Let's make it statewide.
Right.
And this is a tavern owner of 35-plus years, you know. Another good friend of mine is Leonard Bartolomeo. He owns the Square Bar in Westchester on Chestnut Street, and he's a non-smoker. And he came in, he saw my weekends were really, you know, busy, and he said, "Oh, this is great. You know, I can't wait for the state to pass the law. You know, I'll fix up the place and redo everything." But then he looked at me and said, "But I don't have the nerve to do what you did." You know, but a lot of them are for it, but, you know, again, taking the step, and my only way of showing you my support was to go smoke-free voluntarily.
Thank you so much. And that's an interesting comment you said, that your friend said that he would fix up the place. That's what happened in Ireland. That's what
Yeah.
that article said too, that something happens, there's a different attitude, and they start fixing their places up, and it's a renaissance that occurs.
Right, because everything is so smoke tainted. You know, we would paint our place like every 3-4 years, and when the guy would start rolling, you know, 3 years later, and you'd say, look at the difference in the color. I mean, it's just, you know. But like I said earlier, I said the only way you can really show my support for this law, and, you know, was to go smoke-free and try to be somewhat of a trendsetter, if you will, for what is hopefully to come.
Thank you. Mrs. Valentino, do you have anything to say?
Just one thing, when we first did go non-smoking, we had a lot of people that would come in and say, "How could you go non-smoking? You have a beer, you have to have a cigarette." And I'd look at them and say, "Let me ask you a couple of questions." Say, when you go to work at your place of employment, are you allowed to sit there and smoke? No, we have to go outside to smoke. I'd say, okay. Well, when you're at home, do you smoke in your house? If I lit up a cigarette in my house, my wife would kill me. No, we have to go outside. I said, okay, now this is the last question. Do you drink in your home? And they said, yes, I drink in my house. Well, what do you do when you want a cigarette when you're having your beer at your house? I get up and I go outside. I said, what's the problem? There is none. And my daughter and I go up to New York City. We love it up there. And the restaurant packed with people, everybody hollering, happy hour, whatever. All of a sudden it would get quiet. Everybody would get up at one time, walk outside. There would be this giant mushroom cloud outside, and they would smoke whatever for 2 minutes. Half of them don't even smoke their cigarettes anymore. It's just go out, get the nicotine kick, and then come running back in. And it struck me funny that they got used to it. Now, if New Yorkers can do this and they don't have a problem with it, and to be honest with you, it does create a little bit of camaraderie where you can sit at our bar where all the smokers are, and they're standing there and they'll look down at one another and say, are you ready to, give me a minute, I just want another sip, and then they all get up. It's like women going to the restroom, all in one lump sum.
Right.
This is what they all do. And all of a sudden, the bar clears out, and you can get all the trash picked up and whatever, and then they all come back in. So I really do appreciate those people that have stuck with us and stuck by us.
You know, our loyal customers, I mean, it's very nice. I mean, they could have gone elsewhere. You know, we take a lot of, you know, kidding. The day we went smoke-free, I brought out a great big plate of hot wings, and the following night, our main regulars, my wife cooked them some steaks.
And baked potatoes for everybody and brought it over to the bar. So.
You know, my doctor, Robert Ensalada, every time I had, you know, he'd been my physician for 20 years. Every time I talk about that story about the secondhand smoke and the guy accusing me of falsifying my questionnaire and a half a pack a day, you know, he just was amazed at that. He would tell other doctors, and he said, I can't believe it. It's amazing, amazing. Secondhand smoke, you know. He said, you don't think that it's doing what, and it is doing what it is doing.
Well, you're a delightful, I'm sorry, you want to say something?
I just wanted to add this one little thing. I would greatly appreciate it if the state does go non-smoking, that it include everybody, the private clubs, the casinos, everything. That way, it gives us little mom and pop bars an even playing field for everything that's out there. If the people are, with the cigar bars and whatever, that, to me, is, but like the VFWs and the Elks and the Mooses. I have a very good girlfriend that works over at the Downingtown VFW, and she is a non-smoker. She is just hoping for it to go non-smoking. Now, she's not there all the time, but when she goes in there and she comes home, she is like, immediately the clothes come off and into the shower she goes, because it permeates.
Well, you're a delightful couple, and certainly a courageous couple to do what you did, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very
for
much.
allowing us to come. We appreciate the honor.
Appreciate it.
Thank
We
you.
have other questions for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Representative Miller.
Just one quick question, point of clarification. You said you built an outdoor porch for your smokers.
it's not enclosed.
It's
It's just
just
an
a over-
overhang, so that when it snows
but it has
or
a roof.
rains or whatever.
So they can get out of the rain.
But it has a
But
roof?
it's open on the side, yes.
That's the roof, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Representative Gerber.
I just want to applaud you for what you've done and appreciate you coming up here and sharing your story. I think one of the big challenges we have is changing culture. And when you seek to change culture, I think you're always going to face significant pushback. And to have folks like you share your story and the positive nature of your story, hopefully will help us with that pushback. And I applaud you for what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay. The next witness is Jack Minnelli, President, Pennsylvania Bowling Proprietors Association.